Again, the president criticizing his attorney general. Joining me now is the House Whip, Democratic Congressman Steny Hoyer from Maryland. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate you being here. I hope you had a chance to hear what I was just reading, this new statement from the president criticizing anew the attorney general for calling for an investigation into FISA abuse.
Well, the president tends to call out his friends and his foes for anything that he believes are contrary to his interests. I think that he's undermined clearly Attorney General Sessions in a lot of different ways from the very beginning. Most of all, of course, for recusing himself and therefore not being able to fully protect Trump from what the facts may show. So I think it's a continuing unfortunate modus operandi of the President of the United States to undermine law enforcement, undermine the Justice Department, undermine the FBI, undermine the credibility of anybody who's trying to get at the truth.
Put yourself in the Attorney General's shoes. I mean, he was once a lawmaker like you. Could you work like this?
I don't think so. I don't think I would tolerate being undermined in so many different ways by the person who asked me to be the Attorney General of the United States, and a person that I had supported very, very strongly and frankly, uniquely in many ways, being one of very few who were strong supporters of Trump's and believed he could win from the very beginning. But the president is loyal only to those who are absolutely and unquestionably loyal to him.
Well, on that point, Hope Hicks, his communications director, testified to the House Intelligence Committee yesterday, apparently told them that she sometimes tells white lies for her boss. Does that concern you?
Well, of course, but she didn't say what the white lies were, so we don't know how important those lies are. It doesn't sound to me like it's cleaning the swamp up. It is adding to it when Hope Hicks, who obviously is one of the president's closest advisors apparently in the White House, will not tell the truth about what's happening in the White House. The American people have the right to know what's happening, and the fact that she admits to white lies, heavens knows what else might be the case, because other than that, she was unwilling to be very forthcoming.
Look, if the Democrats do take back the House, you think there's a 90% chance, I've read you say that before. Is this the type of thing you would investigate? Would you be calling on the House Oversight Committee to be launching an investigation into this now?
Look, I think one of the reasons that Americans are going to vote for Democrats to take back the House is because they want a check and balance on this administration. Whatever they think of the administration, they obviously don't have a lot of confidence in their continuity or their transparency or truthfulness. And I think they're worried about this administration and would want to see the checks and balances that our founding fathers had in mind operate in a way that the founding fathers thought it ought to do, as a check on executive power. So that I think that clearly would be something we would be looking into, yes.
America is watching Washington today, Congressman, to see what you do on gun safety, on school safety. Yesterday, I watched Bill Pascrell stand next to you and say, Paul Ryan has lost his guts here. What do you want to see come to the House floor?
Look, we have 67% of the American people who think we ought to deal with assault weapons, which are the weapons of choice for those who want to kill a lot of people very quickly in public places, whether they be schools or restaurants or concert venues, restaurants, nightclubs. The American public want action. They certainly want action. 97% of Americans, which means the majority of Republicans, Independents, Democrats, all believe that we ought to have background checks that do not have any loopholes, that we know who are purchasing weapons, we find out whether they have mental health problems, whether they have criminal problems, whether they're domestic abuse persons, whether they're terrorists, whether they can't fly on airplanes because of the danger to the air public. The fact of the matter is America wants action. And we ought to have action. And the Speaker has said we will take on the tough issues one at a time. We'll have the courage to do that. he's not doing that. He hasn't done it in so many different ways, but certainly on this issue, we've filed 2 discharge petitions. One, to make sure that everybody has a background check, and 2, that you can't get a gun until that background check is finished, not just 72 hours later. If the background check is not approved, you get the gun anyway. That's the roof case in Charleston, where the individuals who were killed were in a church. So I think the Americans want action, they expect action, and we ought to take action.
We will see what happens today after the president meets with lawmakers of both parties. Congressman Steny Hoyer, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate your time,
Thank
sir.
you. Okay.
All right, I want to go now to Abby Phillip at the White House. Again, we just heard